There, yeah, they're over there to the right. Yes.
You got a favorite?
How about my son? Thank you.
Good afternoon. Shreveport City Council meeting is now called to order. I'm going to ask Councilman Green to lead us in prayer. I'll give the pledge.
Thank you, Lord, for this day, and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for what you've done for us. And Lord, we pray that you will continue to bless us as we come before you today. Lord, we pray that you would guide our minds and guide our hearts and whatever we do today for the good of our city and for the good of the people and the citizens. Lord, at the end of the day, we ask that we would give you some glory. We love you today. We praise you today. We bless your name. Thank you for what you've done. And Lord, we're going to praise you in advance for what you're going to do. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Turn and repeat the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Taylor.
Present.
Councilman Brooks.
Here.
Councilman Taylor Farrell. Councilman Jackson.
Here.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Green.
I'm here.
And Councilwoman Bowman.
Present. Tomorrow, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the administrative conference meeting Monday, September 8th, 2025, and the city council meeting Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. So I know council members have a number of guests that are going to speak on today. And so, because I have a council member that has to leave, Attorney Busada, can you come up, please?
Hello,
How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How about you?
I am good. So we have some council members that have some questions as it relates to the finance district in downtown. And Councilman Butcher, if you have any questions, first I'm gonna tell you hold it 1 second just to allow Attorney Busada to give us an overview of the district.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and really appreciate the opportunity to be able to answer any and all of your questions, and happy to go into as much detail as you'd like. I think it's important. Some of the stuff that I'm going to go over just in kind of this high level, you may already be familiar with, but just for the benefit of the public, I want to just give you a broad overview. Essentially what we're doing today is putting in place a success-dependent incentive. When it comes to incentives, being in economic development, this is my entire practice is project finance, including a big portion of it is public-private partnerships like this. Incentives are something that businesses have utilized for decades to get customers. Everybody has seen the commercials. If you get an iPhone, you sign a 2-year or if you get T-Mobile, you sign a 2-year contract, we'll give you a free iPhone. They don't give the iPhone away because they like giving their stuff away. They do it because they know if they give you something, they can get a customer and the numbers work out. Same thing when you see a car, we'll give you $3,000 cash back if you purchase now. There's a reason for that. And so the government over the years have watched that and have seen the benefit of that and have used those incentives. In in the late 90s, early 2000s, President Clinton instituted new market tax credits that have resulted in millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in new investment. President Trump most recently instituted the opportunity zones. Again, it was a way to say, look, if you will come and invest in an area that has been underinvested in and you're successful, then we will incentivize you to do that. So it's been a bipartisan effort. A lot of people don't like incentives. I get it. If I didn't have to give away an incentive, I wouldn't do it. But we're competing against every other city and every other state in the country for these economic development projects. And my experience has been the ones that utilize all their tools are the ones that are growing, that are getting those big wins. Really what today we're doing is with an economic development district is about incentivizing the redevelopment of downtown. Now, I want to make sure I want to be clear on this. The prize of all this is the film and the television production. That's really what the crux of this is that Curtis Jackson is talking about doing. That's where the money comes. That's where the big money comes. The big economic development comes from that. And especially when it comes down to, in the past, and when we've tried to build the film industry, what we've typically seen is you've got pre-production sometimes will happen in the state. They'll film in the state, and then they do the big value add stuff, the post-production. That's where the big money jobs are. That's where all the growth is. They ship that back to California or to New York or to Georgia. And so the state has always tried to figure out how can we ensure the post-production, the value add is done here, and there's a permanent industry. In most cases, when you have these studios that are built like Millennium Studios, they're essentially just big leasing corporations. We got to go out, we got to find a film that's going to shoot here, and we'll lease you this space while you're shooting your film here. And then when your film's done, we got to go find somebody else. We've got to find a new tenant. What's unique about this opportunity is this really gives us the holy grail, because what Mr. Jackson is proposing doing is not just owning a studio and going out and trying to find a tenant for 6 months at a time or a year at a time. He's producing all of it. He's the creator as well as the producer. And so all of a sudden you do have a permanent source of production, a permanent source permanent foundation for the industry. And so that's what makes this extremely unique. The reason that this economic development district is being created is because the argument has been made by Mr. Jackson and others that in order to be able to attract and keep our local talent here, you have to have a thriving and safe downtown. You've got to have those quality of life things. And we're seeing that more in economic development across the board. It's gotten to the point where you can build just about anywhere. It's what's the quality of life. And so what they have proposed, what Mr. Jackson and his team have proposed, is to purchase a significant amount of property downtown that's vacant or dilapidated, and to put substantial investment into that, around $50 million when it's all said and done. The intent of that is to create more businesses, more foot traffic, more commerce downtown, to make it a place where people want to come, to people want to shoot films, to people want to live. These, from California, come here, do post-production, really make it a quality of life issue. There's not, our Red River District, as we've talked about and we've seen, has been mostly empty since it was built. There's a reason that we need to provide an incentive here. It's because otherwise capital's not coming. Capital goes where it's treated best and where it knows that it can multiply. That's why you don't see a fast food store, you don't see a Chick-fil-A inside the middle of a neighborhood. You see them on a main thoroughfare. So there's not the commerce, there's not the footsteps, there's not the customers there now. So Mr. Jackson said, look, I will invest around $50 million of my own money because I want to recreate the downtown to make it a safe, vibrant area for everybody. I want to bring in more customers so that the existing businesses, their revenues grow exponentially. I want to help them and I want to build new ones. Will you give us an incentive? Will you partake in some of the risk, because right now I know it's a big risk because nothing's ever gone down there. It's because it's tough. So the city, by doing this, is offering a success-dependent incentive. They're saying, Mr. Jackson, look, here's the deal. If you do what you say, you spend the $50 million, you do this, you generate, you bring these buildings back to life. And if you create the customers and the foot traffic, and you are successful, only then will we then take the extra money that we collected from your businesses and utilize that on the back end to help incentivize you to mitigate that risk. If you don't do that, there's no money. One of the things, if you look at the current district right now that's downtown, it has barely generated any money. It's actually got a negative fund balance. Point being is that he has to deliver, or else there's nothing for him to have. And so he's got to take that risk. If he goes and spends $20 million, he spent about, he's already bought a bunch of buildings, so he spent, several $1 million. If he goes and spends $20 million and isn't able to make a restaurant successful, he gets nothing. But we get a new building. And so that's the thought process here, is if you believe you can do it, we will incentivize you. But the city doesn't have excess cash right now. I mean, we all know that. We've got potholes. We've got things that we're fixing. I mean, we're working on a whole capital improvement plan across the city. That's where our money's going. But if you will take something that's never generated revenue and turn it into a revenue generator, we'll use that as a way to incentivize you to come. And so that's what this is that we've got in place now. It's an economic development district, different than a TIF. A TIF, this includes TIF functions, but it's broader than that. It's an economic development district that will bring traffic here. There is the talk, or there is, at another vote down the road, if the district's created, there will be an ask to put an additional 2% economic development levy, sales tax, on everything in the district. That's so that there's money there to pump back into it. So if Mr. Jackson creates it, it generates revenue, that money will be able to go back and help incentivize it. Some people have asked, well, why aren't other businesses in the district? That was honestly done purposefully. The thought process is, look, these existing businesses have already been doing it. We're not going to, we want the existing businesses to get all the benefits of all the new customers without having to pay that additional tax. Because we all know that when there's an event in the Dome, where there's an event in the old Stageworks, and everybody leaves there, and they're ready to go out and grab a drink or grab dinner, they're not going to pull out their cell phones and get on their land maps and say, okay, well, this is Mr. Jackson's building, so let me go here. And this is Mr. So-and-so's, I'm not going there. They're going to go. They're going to go to all of them. And so the idea is it drives up business for everybody. And again, if it doesn't work, the city loses not one red penny. With that, I will answer any questions.
Council?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. I want as much transparency on this as possible, because I do get a lot of questions in my district, in particular about all of the things that are going on downtown, and a lot pertaining to 50 Cent. I think the overwhelming consensus of the majority of the people in my district is we feel like we've got a bass on the hook, but we hadn't seen the bass yet. It feels like one, but it could be a gar. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I mean, we don't know with anything that we get into if it's going to produce what we think it's going to produce. Most of the negative things, and I wasn't going to be here today because of business, but I carved out some time because I wanted to talk to you on the record before we vote tomorrow.
Sure.
I think it's that important. A lot of the questions that I've gotten are from other businesses in the downtown area. Why were they not included? And I think what goes back to me, one of the biggest issues that I might have with this, and I'm kind of conflicted because I've made a living off of buying and selling real estate over the years. Not a very good one, but I have made a living. I'm a little conflicted by this. So and just follow me here, and you and I had a conversation prior to this, so you probably know about what I'm going to say. But so let's say that Mr. Jackson has purchased a piece of property on Texas Avenue. He has this incentive that goes with this property. I'm assuming that that incentive would be transferable. So if he wanted to go and let's use Ruth Chris Steakhouse as an example, he wanted to find a franchisee for Ruth Chris Steakhouse to go in the 500 block of Texas. He owns the building. The value of that building increases with that incentive. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I would, the only thing I would say is this will be a little different from economic development districts that are created for one specific project. So for instance, I represented the city of Ruston on Buc-ee's. That was an economic development district. It was created solely for one purpose only, Buc-ee's. And so it does essentially follow the project. So if Buc-ee's decided to sell it, they would have to sell it to somebody else that would operate it exactly the same as a Buc-ee's. But if they did that, they could sell it. For this one, there's no guarantee that any piece of property will qualify for any of these funds. Essentially what will happen is that once somebody comes in, so let's say that Mr. Jackson goes and gets, a Ruth's Chris owner to come or a franchisee to come, he would essentially, the franchisee would have to come in and go through the process. And the process would be having to submit an application to be vetted and underwritten by the Economic Development Corporation Board to ensure that it's a viable project, that they have to have, 10 years pro forma, your sources and uses, everything in place. If they were able to go through that, then the Economic Development Corporation Board would have the ability to recommend that. Their vote to recommend, all that would do is it would send it for a final approval or rejection by you, the city council, as the board of the new district. And so anybody that would come here just for that, there is no guarantee because it doesn't necessarily, you could theoretically take all the money in there and repave the street if you wanted to. So
it's up
there's
to the
no
council.
guarantee.
It's up to the council, the administration to present to the council or whatever for us to do with it. But hypothetically, he could buy a building for $250. We've got this on it. A developer could come in and say, okay, I want to buy this because I'm putting in a restaurant. That is leverage in my mind to a bank. I think a bank would loan you money if you knew that they had guaranteed dollars coming in. So he could turn around and sell that building for a huge profit, which I'm fine with. I am. I'm have a problem with taxpayer funded huge profits, but I get it. I think that the piece of the puzzle that I was confused about, that I didn't like, was that we have a board that's appointed of people, and I'm not saying anything negative about the particular board that's in place right now. But as we all know, those boards change over time, and a mayor could come in and appoint somebody that I don't want that board to be making those decisions. Because I'm elected to this position to represent my district in the city of Shreveport, and hopefully I make good decisions doing that. A board of private individuals may not have my constituents' best interest at heart, and we've seen that on some other boards over the years. So that helps me out a little bit to know that there is a layer that this does come back to the council.
Right.
I am still a little bit. I want us all to be successful in Shreveport, but I don't want one particular person to only be successful. I think the only way we grow this city is to offer it to every. And I'm not talking about this in particular, but everybody needs to be on equal playing ground. One thing that does concern me, and I don't, you said that you're not going to walk down and look to see, well, 50 Cent owns this and John Doe owns this bar. You're not going to really be able to tell. But what if 50 Cent goes in, uses this money to secure financing? I don't know if he's going to finance or what, but to help secure financing, he fixes this building up really, really nice. John Doe's owned this bar for 10 years, and it looks like crap. Honestly, it's old, smells like cigarette smoke, whatever. I think it does hurt that local business person because of the advantage that 50 has had by being able to use these incentives off of the economic district. So I just needed to get that out there. That's the concerns that I've heard from my constituent. I don't necessarily have a problem because I'm thinking we got a bass on the line. Even we got a catfish, that's good. But I don't want a gar. And Shreveport in the past has notoriously, I can start naming, Hamels Park, the Pirates. We put a lot of faith in people, and sometimes it doesn't transpire. But I think at this point, we don't have a lot of people knocking down the door to do anything either that have the capital influx to do it up front. So I'm for it, but I'm moving a little bit cautious. So,
No, I think
your
that's...
explanation's perfect, though. You answered all the questions I need, but I'm still want us to find a way to help these local businessmen that have been here in the weeds, that have been digging and digging and digging, trying to get themselves out of the hole. And I don't want to ever disenfranchise any of our local businesses.
Absolutely. And just one thing just to clarify too, because I think it's a good point. As far as the financing piece is, essentially in my experience on financing loans or financing any kind of debt based on economic development districts, because there's not a long history of collections. So for instance, most banks, when they're looking at this, and I had a question from somebody else about, will the city or will the district issue bonds based on this? I don't foresee that happening, at least not for the next 10 to 20 years, because no bank or bondholder is going to lend money based on 1 year of projected revenue. And most of this revenue, I would not expect to happen for several years because you've got to construct everything before you're generating any revenue. When you're constructing, Mr. Jackson will actually be paying an additional higher sales tax on his construction material and equipment. But there won't be ongoing stuff.
Because he's in the district. So he's going to have to pay higher sales tax on the materials that he's bringing into the district to redo his buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
And so essentially, though, there's not going to be a steady source of revenue, steady revenue stream with any kind of historical data for many, many years. And so, I think that what's more likely to happen here is he's going to have to go out and spend all this money, hoping that it does produce on the back end, because I don't think anybody's going to allow it to secure debt because there's just no track record at this point.
Well, I agree with you to a certain extent, but I also think that as a banker and you have that potential backup, he's strong anyway. Obviously, if he's got that potential backing of this district, it does make him look even more attractive.
Sure.
So I think that this is a feather in his hat if it passes. If it doesn't, I still think he'll be able to do what he wants to do. But this does help him, I would think. And I do think from a marketability standpoint of properties that he's already bought, if he decides to sell them to somebody else, I do think that this is a positive marketing thing. If a realtor doesn't use that to market the property, then they're missing out. Because I do think it's a positive. So that's all I've got. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mike.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
other than the, did you refer to as a bass on the line?
Bass or catfish, whichever one you go with.
Bass. Other than the bass or the catfish or the gar, do you have any perches out there, little goldfish or whoever, knocking down the door to do something?
No, sir. We've tried, obviously.
So we're talking about, do we have a bass? Do we have a gar? Do we have a catfish? Unless Mr. Jackson does whatever, we won't even have a fish bowl. So therefore, now that we have, Shreveport could really be larger than New Orleans, but it's been all about small thinking, that there's a sense of control. We actually could have had more boats than Bossier, but politics got in the way. The racetrack was actually supposed to be here. We said, we're a Bible Belt city, let it go to Bossier and we'll just go over there. It's like Barksdale Air Force Base could have been in Shreveport, but we didn't want it because we want to stay small because of the control. And we have fear. Fear is just false information appearing to be real. And so therefore, Mike, would you agree that 80% of something is better than 100% of nothing?
I will take it. Yes, sir.
So what happens, everybody's like, well, Mr. Jackson ought not to be the one to have the chance, and everybody else ought. The door is open, isn't it, Mr. Mayor, for whoever to come, whosoever will. I sing a song at church that say, whosoever will, let them come. But no tadpoles knocking at your door about, come on, let's do this. You got a bass, fish, as Councilman said, a gar, at least 80% of something is better than 100% of nothing. But I just think that sometimes we're afraid to pull the trigger. And this is not a time to say no to anything that can move us forward. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilman Brooks?
Hey, Mike,
Yes, sir.
do you know who put this on the agenda?
Who put it on the agenda? The administration.
Administration did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I drafted it.
Did you live here post-Katrina, 2005 to 2010, give or take?
I was in New Orleans for Katrina, and I was here for about 3 months before.
Okay, all the movie industry moved up here.
Yep. Yes, sir.
All of them. Kevin Costner, Demi Moore, Oliver Stone. I don't remember that we had to build nightclubs and new restaurants, and they went to the ones that we already had.
Mm-hmm.
So I question that what comes first, the cart or the horse. Are they not going to come unless we have all this entertainment district? Is that what the implication is here?
I think it's more of even during that time, what you're right. I mean, we saw a lot of activity. One of the things that Louisiana has always, and policymakers have talked about, is even when we're seeing a lot of filming, it's all transient. They come in here, they take the tax credits, they do filming for a little bit, and then they go back somewhere else. And so it's essentially like having a business. Their headquarters is somewhere else. And we're good at that in Louisiana. I mean, we've got more oil and gas than anybody, but where are all the big oil and gas buildings? They're in downtown Houston or Dallas. So what the concept is here is let's do it differently. Let's essentially say, you know what, we're going to incentivize you if you do everything here. Your executives are here. We really have a value add here as opposed to just coming here, taking some resources and then going home. I think that's what the difference is. And in order to do that, the thought process is you have to have a vibrant downtown.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I appreciate the overview. I appreciate the phone call as well. And I want to commend 50 for wanting to give back, wanting for his businesses to be taxed more to put back into downtown. We have been talking a lot about the film industry, but uplifting downtown as a whole, I believe, is extremely important because the film industry is not going to be the only business that we're going to be going after. And having a vibrant downtown, I think, attracts more businesses regardless of the film industry. And I think anything we do to fast track that, to incentivize that, is something that we have to do because, as you stated earlier, we're competing with a lot of other cities. When people leave Shreveport to enjoy themselves, they're going to Texas. They're going to lower parts of Louisiana. We want people to stay here. We want people to say, I want to enjoy myself at home. And we want other people to come here and enjoy themselves because we built a downtown that everybody can have fun and be safe. So I thank you again for clarifying that. I just want the public to know that Curtis Jackson is trying to do everything he said he's going to do. He wants to put back into downtown and attract other businesses. And to Councilman Butcher, as realtors, even that old rundown bar market value is going to be higher once we raise the value of downtown. So even that rundown bar is going to benefit just from downtown being uplifted as a whole. So again, thank you for the.
Madam Vice Chair?
Attorney Basada, I want to tell you thank you for answering all the hard questions. We did have a thorough conversation off the record. I appreciate that. But just for the record, for the ones that, we have people that are calling, why are we giving 50 Cent this? Why are we giving him that? He's giving us. We have just been a bold administration and council to say yes and accept it. I think, like Councilman Green said, in the past, we've always said no. Right now, what do we have to lose? We did this for a number of years. Politics and politics got involved. I think it's time to move forward and move this city in a positive direction. But thank you again.
Absolutely. And, one of the things I learned growing up, if you talk to somebody that owns any kind of business, let's say it's a hotel, and they don't have a lot of customers, if somebody comes in and says, you know what, I will book 80% of your rooms every week, but you're going to say, oh, I love it, but I want you to cut your rate down 30%. You're going to do it in a heartbeat because it's better to lower your rate and have guaranteed volume. And so that's what we're looking at. And that's the good thing about this. I mean, look, everybody's got an example of an economic development project that didn't work out. And we can go through them. I would tell you that that's like saying that somebody that's suffocated means the air is bad. An economic development can be done right or it can be done wrong,
Right.
just like anything else. And what I want to, and why I'm really glad to be up here, is to go through and answer the questions. We've put a lot of guardrails in here. There's a lot of requirements. That's why, there's a lot of confidence. Now, look, it might not happen. This isn't a guarantee that it happens. This is just saying that if it does, we're going to be there to help mitigate some of that risk. And I would venture to say that in most cases, just in an economic development world, when a company comes in and says, look, I'm going to invest significant amounts of money and take on that risk, because there's always a risk. It might not work and you lose your money, then we'll give you some incentive.
Councilman Green?
Yeah. Back in the day, just think if Mayor Keith Hightower had not had the nerves to say we need a convention center, we wouldn't have one today. And then when we wanted to build a hotel, you had a whole lot of opposition that we didn't need a hotel. It was not that we were trying to monopolize the market, but everybody who comes to a convention, they don't want to stay at the boat. All they want to do is come to the convention center, go back to their hotel room. But we got a hotel, we got a convention center. We took a chance. It's there. Can't nobody deny it. But fear, if we had stayed fearful that and what happens there, Shreveport had local owners of hotels, so they didn't want a hotel. They didn't want a convention center. They wanted to stay in the small hotel so that they could make the money. But with the convention center that we have now, with the hotel that we have next to it, I think it's only 300 rooms. Just think if we had built a 600 room, there are conventions like AKA, they want to come here and have their big convention, but they got to have somewhere to stay. We don't have nowhere for them to stay because we want to keep it small. I want to make sure that my buddy keep it over here. I just want to make sure. Here's a person who's spending his own money. I mean, he's not, most people come to the city and say, well, we'll do this if y'all give us this. This man is spending his own money, his money. It's just like after this meeting, everybody's here except Jim. I'm gonna take all of y'all to Morrison. I'm gonna spend my own money.
That means we get nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I'm offering y'all
But
something.
nothing.
Well, I tell you what, you better talk to 50 Cent about getting us some Morrison's downtown.
Exactly.
But thank you, man, I really thank you
Madam
for
Chair.
going
Yes.
from point A to point B to explaining this. And as I always say, 80% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilman Butcher?
I always say a small piece of the pie is better than no piece of the pie. So we're lined up. But we were talking about risk and failure and fear. I think that from what I see, there's very little risk to the city in this.
Correct.
I really do. And I'm not fearful about doing this because I agree 100% that 50 is willing to come here and invest in Shreveport. So we have to take him for his word at that. And like I said, we don't have very many multimillionaires knocking on the door to invest their own money in Shreveport. The questions that I ask are because of questions that I receive from constituents.
Correct.
And I think it's a lack of communications that we have, and it's nothing against the mayor. He can't talk to everybody. You can't talk. This is the best forum You and I had a phone conversation today. I asked you the same exact questions that I already knew the answers of what he was going to give me, but I wanted to ask those questions where everybody could hear it on the record. So I don't see any negative to this. I just want local businesses to know that we're there for them too, like Councilman Green said. If they're a brim and they want to come knock on the door, we'll help them any way we can. And I hope that the administration, because they're the first line of communications to those people, will give them the same that we're trying to give 50 Cent. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate everything. I appreciate the comments by my colleagues. I just feel like that at this point in Shreveport, what could it hurt?
Attorney Basada.
Yes.
Thank you for coming in and explaining that. Councilman Butcher, you are supposed to ask the questions that are necessary for your constituents. I do think that we need to note for the record that this is one of the largest economic development deals in this city, in this region that we're having. And I think that you have to understand in Mr. Jackson's quest of what he has distinctly stated on his Instagram page and in conversing with the mayor, is that he take a bet on him because he wants to see everybody win. He's had a significant investment in this city already, and then what we're looking at too is the investment that he wants to make with the businesses that are already here. When we're talking about the downtown area and business that are already existing, what we're looking at is him not competing with those existing structures, but to enhance those particular businesses that are here. The commitment to the local community, the commitment to local businesses are things that he wants to do, because how is Shreveport going to grow without utilizing its people? The best marketing for Shreveport are its people. And I think that when you come in and you form those collaborative partnerships and the conversations that he's had with the mayor, the conversations that he's had with council members, that it's essential that we look at that. There isn't many businesses that come into this area that in some type of way we're not incentivizing. That is the way that we do business here. And so when we take this, because we don't have a guppy, a goldfish, or anybody else knocking at our door at this particular time, we have a whale. And that whale is one of the greatest whales. They're coming in and that does business all around the United States and internationally. Shreveport is a brand. I think so much that I heard Councilman Jackson talk about this early on when you were changing things and when you were looking at changing things in the Red River District. And now that thing has come to fruition. And so for us, of course, there is some level of fear, but with the fear comes the courage to take the step, to improve the quality of life. That in this particular economic development district will also yield opportunities for individuals to work in that district. And you could correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor. There is a 35-page document that is associated with this that you can go online and you will be able to read it. So you will be able to understand the context of how this district actually works. And so from there, I don't think at any point that we're not going to look at going in and helping our existing businesses here, but we also want to make sure that we have capital in order to be able to do that. And so those are ongoing discussions that we're going to have. The council has the final say-so of the people that we choose, the plans that we plan to implement here. And then we have the responsibility and the opportunity to make sure that Mr. Jackson is held accountable. But he said put us to the test. The mayor is here, but also remember that the last straw belongs to this council, who is progressive and aggressive and wanted to see this done. Thank you so much, Attorney Basada.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to go eat some bass and some pie.
Forget about the
Goldfish. Mr. Griggs?
So, Madam Chair,
Yes.
Curtis Jackson's not the only one investing in Shreveport.
Yay.
We have the Ronald McDonald House. It's going to be located in my district. I'm very proud of that, but more so, this is a win for Shreveport. I had the pleasure of touring it this morning, and I know it's supposed to be a home away from home for those who have critically ill children, and it's not ready yet. It's going to be ready in about a month, but just walking through it, it just felt like home. I mean, there is still dust everywhere. They're still building things, but when you walk in and when you when you just see it, and he's going to offer tours to everybody, it's a surreal feeling. Awesome. You can just already see that the families that's going to be there are just not going to have a place to stay, but they're really going to have all the resources they need so they can just focus on making sure that their loved one becomes healthy. And so I'm really, really excited for Shreveport. And I'm sorry for stealing your thunder, but I just had to get that off. But I'm going to turn the floor over to you now.
We like someone that's telling our story. Let me say good evening to Madam Chair and Councilman Jackson, Mayor Arsenault. And thank you for the opportunity to come and just talk a minute about this. I have Lori Moore with me, who is the mission director for the House here. And we are extremely excited about the House. Today, we want to just kind of talk about, well, first to say thank you for your contribution, give you a little update on the House. And then lastly, ask that you would work with us on a variance for the sign on the building. We'll talk about those three things. So during the Mayor Perkins administration, this council here was on the front edge of giving us a large amount of money to help us get the House started. And you guys gave us the 5th largest donation that we collected throughout today, this council right here. And that's very unusual. Normally, cities do not get involved at the extent that you guys did here. So we could not have done what we have done without your support. And again, having the support of you saying what you just said about the House. And it is something unique for Shreveport. There's only 2 houses in the state of Louisiana. Oh, wow. And there's a third one that's being built in Lafayette. But just think about that, that's another shining star for Shreveport and for this area to have a house where we can take care of critically ill children, where the families can stay, not in a hotel, but in a home where we provide everything for them. And Laurie, tell us about that.
Well, the Ronald McDonald House is a home away from home. So we provide every resource, as Mr. Jackson shared, that we really do take care of the entire family unit so that they are better equipped to take care of their child. And we keep the family close. We keep them nearby the hospital. We provide that transportation, and families can stay in the Ronald McDonald House completely free. We provide transportation to and from the other hospitals. A warm meal is provided by volunteer groups each night. We provide laundry. When I gave the tour this morning, we have a hair salon. Volunteer stylists can come in and take care of those families. With back to school recently, we know school just started. There was a line in our Little Rock house for all those siblings to get their fresh haircut before they go back to school. And as a mama, back to school can be a lot. But if you think about you're already displaced from home, you're taking care of focusing on your critically ill child, to have that resource for those families right there in this house. So this is going to be huge for the Shreveport medical community. It serves a 200-mile radius. There are families who cannot afford to stay away from home. They can't afford to be next to their child's side. Some of them are sleeping in their cars in the hospital parking lot because they cannot navigate the going back and forth, and they don't want to leave their child's side. Or worse, there are families that just aren't next to their child when they're fighting for their lives in a Shreveport hospital.
And to bring you up to date on the campaign, our initial campaign budget was $10 million. That was back in 2022. You can imagine we broke ground in 24. Cost of material and stuff had gone up. So our new budget now is 12.5. We have raised 11.4 million with your help and support of this great community here, and we're 1.1 million short. There's no doubt in our mind we'll have that real soon. And all the money raised here stays here in our community here. The money is in banks here. We send no money to Glover or nowhere. It all stays right here in this community. As Councilman Jackson said, we're about a little over a month away from opening the house. The house will open. We'll have a VIP reception for our major donors, and you guys will get an invite. That would be Monday, October the 27th from 5:30 to 8. Then we'll have on Tuesday our general opening at 10 o'clock. And I think I already said enough about the house here. But I'll just say this, this is a house of hope. This is a house of possibilities. This is a house where families can stay together. They can heal together. There's so many opportunities that the house can help its community. If you are let me say, okay, let's be perfectly clear. We do not select who gets to stay in the house. Social workers from the 3 hospitals will recommend families for the house. If we have space here, we get in. You can't call me and say, I want my family. That's done through the hospital, so that takes all that out of it from us. And 2 of the hospitals have participated in helping us fundraising. There's 1 that haven't, but when we open, we will service all 3 hospitals. It's just like a family that comes, whether they're given anything or not, they get the full benefit of the house. If you're here in Shreveport, you have maybe a child in the hospital up here there that maybe just need to get away from the hospital for a little while. We will have day passes where they can ask for a day pass to come and use the house. Maybe have the kids come and play on the playground, come and get a toy. They want to come and take a shower just to get away from the hospital. All kind of benefits, absolutely free, absolutely free. And our ongoing support of the house would come from donors and volunteers. So we like to ask that y'all would consider continuing to support the house because we got a one-time seed grant from Global for $250,000. And from that point on, communities like this, so we have fundraisers and donors to support the house. The annual operating costs run over $600,000 a year. And currently right now, we have all the construction costs done. We're working on the 3-year operating costs that we have left now. That's about the house. Now, last thing on Jennifer, we'll give you a chance to ask a question. There is a variance that we're requesting for the sign. It's larger than the normal, signs that you all have permitted. And this is, the signs and everything is done by Global, which is Ronald House. Ronald House is kind of like the McDonald. Nothing is taken a chance. We don't go and decide what type of signs and all that. All that's done by Global. The feasibility study was a good mark at the house, just like we did with the McDonald's. It's 2 different entities, same type of resources that we use to make sure it's a good fit here for Shreveport. The numbers came back overwhelming that we needed a house here, and the fundraising effort has proven that it is needed here and will be supported here. So we ask your support on the variance of the signage. I know you all will be talking about that, and your support there would be very helpful to us. And with that, we'll take any questions that you might have.
Yes. Councilman Butcher.
Mr. Griggs, thank you. Thank you for your leadership in our community and what you've done. You have definitely been a bass in this community over the years. And
They fish day.
and I really, really appreciate it and admire it. And I think that the Ronald McDonald House is a special place for me. My best friend growing up in Spring Hill, we were, I guess, probably 8, 9, 10. He had a congenital heart defect and spent most of a year in a hospital in Houston. And that was probably in the late 70s, early 80s. And Ronald McDonald House was their savior. His dad was a state trooper in Louisiana, and they really just didn't have the money to be able for them to stay. And I can remember as a kid, number one, we didn't have a McDonald's in Spring Hill, so that it was cool that he was getting to stay at McDonald's house, but Ronald McDonald House. But it does mean, just from personal experience, it was so much to that family 45 years ago. It's going to be really, and it's really a feather in our hat to have that here. And I think it helps to grow our medical community as well. So thank you for your leadership, and thank you for helping to bring this, and we'll do whatever we can to help you support it.
Appreciate that. But let me say this. I cannot dare take the credit for this effort here. There's so many involved. Like Lori, there's a team of supporters here that made this possible. I just happen to be one of the participants here. Very passionate, so as the others. We did this as a team. I was a captain of the campaign chair. She has a role to play there as others. So I didn't do it by myself. I would dare not stand here and take that credit. I appreciate your comments, but it's a combined team effort. And your support here helped make this possible. So in this community, so I want to thank everybody in this community and outside this community that has given to make this possible, because it will help any and everybody, not just Shreveport, Bossier, but someone could be traveling through here and have an accident, end up in a critical place, and could be in that house there. So thank you again for your support.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you so
Griggs.
much.
And I think the house is going to have a working ice cream machine. Is that correct?
I say, we will bring ice cream to you if we have to. It's possible, though.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Greg Powell?
All right, thank you for allowing me to speak. Councilwoman Taylor, I know most of the council, but if I don't know you, I appreciate this opportunity to speak. Mayor Arsenault, we've met a few times. I'm here to talk about bicycle safety. So if you don't know me, my name is Greg Powell. I operate a business in Shreveport called SB Rides. We do bicycle rentals and we do bicycle tours, but this past summer, we actually had the opportunity to work with SPAR and the parish to do a summer safety bicycle series. That was in the month of July, and we targeted neighborhood community centers like Airport Park. We did community centers throughout the city of Shreveport, and it was amazing. Summer camp is free. They signed up for, through SPAR, and that was just a specific day that we took out where we brought a bicycle in. We had multiple bicycles. We had like over 20 bicycles. And we taught children how to ride bikes, and we also taught children how to ride safely. And the first thing I wanted everyone to know is that bicycle safety isn't just for people that ride bikes. So I know in this room, there may not be one person besides myself that's ridden a bike in the last 5 years. But bicycle safety is for everyone. And I want everyone to understand that, because most people, when I start talking about bicycle safety, don't realize that bicycles actually are legally and lawfully ridden in the street. Okay, so if you didn't hear me, bicycles are to be ridden in the street. The sidewalk is actually for pedestrians being walking traffic. When I got started with SB Rides about 6 years ago, we were riding our bicycles in the road, and police officers were stopping us saying, get off the road. And we had to actually go through an education process with SPD in terms of, yes, we are lawfully riding bicycles in the street. Now, when you ride bicycles in the street, there are things that you are supposed to have. If you are 12 years old or under 12 years old, you are to have a helmet. Okay, so if you're under 12, you need to have a helmet. And when you buy a regular bicycle from Walmart or from Bikes, etc., or anywhere, that bicycle is going to be outfitted with a few things. It's going to have a reflector in the front, it's going to have a reflector in the back, it's going to have reflectors on the wheels. Now, when you're riding your bicycle at night, it's going to be on you to actually have headlights and taillights. So this is what I have right now. You probably can see this. This is very bright, but you can get headlights and taillights from Walmart, from multiple places to actually ensure your safety at nighttime. Quick little story. After the summer camp series, which we taught over 300 children in the month of July how to ride bicycles safely, and we actually taught at least 30 or 40 kids literally how to ride a bike. We went over these things like wearing a vest, something that has reflectors on it so that you can be seen at night. Talking about the difference between a steady light and a flashing light. State law is that you have a steady light. Now, a steady light gets lost in the sauce at night. When it's flashing, it's much more visible and it gets your attention. When I was, after the series, about a couple of weeks later, a young man, got hit by a car and lost his life. It's very, very tragic, and it broke my heart because I felt like, man, this is exactly what we were talking about. I go back to saying bicycle safety is for everyone. I used to be a claims adjuster at Allstate a long time ago, and we talked about comparative negligence. Generally speaking, when there's an accident, it takes two people to have an accident. Rarely is it one person's fault. Normally, it's two people's fault. So I'm talking about bicycle safety, and I don't want people's mind to check out because I'm talking about bicycle safety, and you're feeling like, oh, well, I don't ride a bike. I haven't ridden a bike in 30 years. I don't need to listen to bicycle safety. But that young man lost his life. He got hit by a car. And so the first thing I wanted to lead with was that, yes, bicycles are supposed to be ridden in the street. So we need to know that as drivers, what bicycle safety means. So when you see a bicyclist in the road, you need to know, first of all, that they're in the right place. And second of all, you need to give them some space. So if a bicycle's riding in the road, you need to just merely slow down, give them some space, and just go around. There's really no need to honk at them. There's no need to give them any sort of hand gestures or tell them that they need to get off the road. You just need to let them be, because bicycling is it's a pastime for a lot of people, but it's some people's mode of transportation. And so we need to be aware of that and give them the opportunity to use their transportation the same way that you're using yours. I brought another headlight here. This is a very bright headlight. This is something that I wear on my head to be an additional safety measure. I also have a whistle. And this whistle may get on a lot of people's nerves, but this has probably saved us, countless times when doing bicycle tours, because when we see a car in the rear or see a car in the front, I would generally blow my whistle to help assist creating awareness from the drivers. Bright colors. This is like a light up. This is a light up reflector that you can wear on your arm, so that when you see sometimes runners wear stuff like this. But I wanted to just come and get on the record some measures of safety that we can use. And we partnered with SPAR, we partnered with the parish, and we're looking forward to doing more in that space. And so if anybody has a youth group or a church group that are giving away bicycles or wanted to do something special with the kids, bicycling is a lot of fun. It's healthy, it's green, carbon emissions and all of that. So I want to continue to push bicycling, but I also want to make sure people understand where the bicycles are supposed to be, and we're sharing the road with the bicycles. And if anybody has questions, I can answer questions, but I'm open to work with the city, the parish, or whoever that want to learn more about cycling safety, because it seems like every week I'm looking at some sort of accident with a cyclist and a motorist.
Mr. Powell, thank you so much. Thank you so much. In response to the accident that had taken place, I think it's imperative that we understand this level of safety. It's just as you said, this is some individual's mode of transportation. We have bike lanes, within the city and in the parish, and some of us may be ignorant to the fact of what the rules are. So right. Thank you for what you do for this community and for coming in and sharing this input. Does any council have any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. You have one before the accountants? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Morgan, would you come up, please?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You actually called me up at a good time, because I was thinking about the bike safety. We have wheelchair issues as well. So it's something that we're working on for us. We had a lot of accidents with wheelchairs, so be aware of that.
All right. Mr. Morgan, I was going through my text messages and my emails, and I discovered that in the last, week or so, then you've received a high honor. And I just wanted you to come up and tell us about that honor that you've received.
I was just announcing the government market magazine for being an outstanding public figure, and I just wanted to thank. And I did want to thank the Department of Public Works, because it can't be done without my staff. So I did send a big email out to everyone, letting them know that I really appreciate all the work that they do, and I appreciate the administration and the council as well.
Congratulations.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
can he come to Morrison's with us?
sure. Councilman Green will take you to Morrison's too.
I don't even know what it said.
Just follow me.
We don't
just follow
either.
me, just follow.
We don't know where it is either.
But I just want to say congratulations and
Thank you,
God
sir.
bless you, man. Keep
Yes, sir.
on, keep
Likewise.
on keeping on.
Yes, sir. Like a glass.
Say it again for the folk in the back. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councilman Brooks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to call up Wendy Biscotter from Shreveport Common to discuss a fundraiser and some things going on in the west end of downtown. Hi, Wendy.
Hello. Hi, Mayor, thank you. Madam Chairman, council members, and Gary, thank you for giving me a chance to update all of you on Shreveport Common, which is as much of your project, City of Shreveport, as it is our public citizens, a community. And I do have pictures today because they say that a picture's worth 1,000 words, and if you know me, you know I'll talk more than 1,000 words when I'm talking about Shreveport Common. I'm going to try to go really quickly so I can get to something else at the end of it. But this Shreveport Common is a 9-block area between Ledbetter Heights and the downtown business district. And really, this is the most historic, culturally significant area, this little 9 blocks in our city. But I think you remember all that in 2010, this area had been neglected for over 50 years. Half of the buildings had been gone, which you see and you think are parking lots or not. It's where buildings were either demolished by neglect or property standards. Of those 50% that remained, 65% were blighted. Today, thanks to the efforts of City of Shreveport, together with the Shreveport Regional Arts Council, which is the arts arm of the project, and they've been bringing public art, artist resources, and arts programming, free arts programming to the area. But we also have some very passionate property owners. And these are not wealthy people. These are regular citizens. You could consider them very small business owners. Some of them, the properties were passed down from their families. But they are very passionate about making sure that these buildings have a purpose. And they, along with some special business owners and residents and the stakeholders and even Caddo Parish Commission, have together invested $81 million in this area. That's a huge commitment to an area that is based on the authenticity of the area, creativity in the area, sustainability, which means we want to last forever, and for every person in our community without gentrification. So what makes us different than everyone else is that we're holding on to not having gentrification in the area. I want you to be able to see what's happened in the last 15 years from 2011 to 2015, and what that $81 million looks like. So 36 projects are completed. Those are the red dots. 3 are in construction. 17 are active pre-development, and 6 are for sale. One of the most important projects in the area, because it really has helped generate even more development, is a project that is very multi-partnered, public-private partners, and that's the Caddo Common Park. This is what it looked like before, in case you forgot. And it's a real testament to what we can do when we come together, when all of us come together to lift an area. But the challenges in this area are very real because the properties were in dire straits. There's huge obstacles to redeveloping this building. So if anybody comes to you and says, why haven't we done this with this building yet? I would love to take them on a tour and then also talk to them about the realities of getting into these buildings. Fortunately, we have people who are interested in investing. They're not really making profits off of it, but they want to see those buildings saved. And we also have these buildings being converted to affordable and mixed rate, either commercial, retail spaces, or apartments. This was the Unita Biscuit building. And I want to show you that the residential in Shreveport Common and in downtown is strong. That might surprise you, but we did a real estate market study a while back, and it's around 97% occupancy. That's with all the new additions, even if you include the BioGrande and other apartments that have gone up. And you know about the Fairmont Apartments. It just had a $22 million renovations. The renovation was a construction project. They actually invested $26 million in that project. Look at the businesses that were here in 2010, 2015, and that's today. Sorry about that. So for this reason, though, because things are slow, not in the residential, but in getting businesses to the area, COVID slowed things down. The cost is expensive to convert these spaces into restaurants and other things. When we talk to our neighbors, which we give them first voice, they have told us what they want, and what they want are affordable places to eat, like diners and cafes. They want a place to be able to go get a comb or some shampoo. And again, converting these, getting them ready is one thing, but converting them is another. This is an example if you look at the before picture. So to do that, we started working with Kick Incubator Kitchen, Small Business Development Center, and Cohab on a project called Here in Shreveport Common. The property owners that have spaces are going to give a minimum 2 months free rent to eligible businesses coming out of these programs. And these partners are going to give technical assistance, and we're going to give startup money. But to do that, we need some extra funding. I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. We're going to do a fundraiser to make that more solid. We are also doing voluntary mediation with 959 Texas Avenue and other projects. I don't know if you know this, but we have a really good relationship with the DEQ, and we're able to remediate several properties in the area and get them back into commerce. We have also been able to stack some drug-free zones in the area with the churches in order to be able to make sure that that area stays drug-free, because we want it to be safe so that everybody can be there. We work very seriously with any property owner or business owner that wants help, and we can do that through technical assistance. We write grants. These are just 2 projects that we've been helping. We are there for them, and a lot of times it's just uniting them with partners. So to end this, I want to say that together we are Shreveport Common. It's taking all of us, but we've been able to keep this momentum, all of us together working on the project. But we do need funding to do some of the things that we're doing. I'm not coming to you today to ask you to give us funding. Instead, I want to tell you about an exciting fundraiser we're doing with Lee Jeter, the Fuller Center. I know you're familiar with the work that he does for affordable housing, and Shreveport Common. And we're going to go over the edge. I'm going to try to get this on without embarrassing myself. We're going to go over the edge, over the Fairmont Tower. It's 15 stories. I'm going to do it. I say if I can do it, anybody can do it. Yes, I'm a little frightened, but at the same time, I believe in this project, and I think it needs this push in order for us to be able to get things finished. We hope that you join us. We'd love for you to join us. The mayor's going to join us. He is raising the money, it's $1,500. You okay with me saying that, Mayor? Yeah, okay, good.
Absolutely. I'm about $150 short
I'm glad.
at the moment.
I'm glad. You raise the money for us to be split evenly between the 2 nonprofits, so we each get, $750. I've got a think group of 30-year-olds, 8, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous, 8 30-year-olds that are also going to one of them is going to go over the edge, but they're out raising money. The 8 of them are each taking 10 people, and they're going to raise $20 each. It is possible to get there. So it is going to be an exciting project. We have Yoshi as the DJ. He's going over the edge. He's raising campaign money so that he can do it. And I've got for you a little bit of information about this I'm going to pass out. And on the back, you'll see the schedule. There's a VIP event on Friday the 3rd. We hope you all attend. We'd love for 1, 2, 5 of you, all of you to go over the edge. Marcus, would you do it? We'd love for you all. We would love for you to do it, or maybe you know somebody that wants to do it, or the team that wants to do it. It also has on there that the Shreveport Regional Arts Council is one of our partners, and so they're going to host the block party across the street with a viewing area, food trucks, free children's area, and Yoshi, again, is our DJ. It should be a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Have fun.
if I may, I really want to compliment Shreveport Common. One of the reasons that Ms. Benscotter is on the consulting panel for Block by Block is the work that she has done, that she has coordinated in Shreveport Common by involving all the stakeholders that are in the neighborhood and doing things the right way. We're trying to follow her example, and it is a great success story. And Wendy, we thank you very much. I'm $150 short. So anybody wants to help, I'm glad to accept your donations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Ms. Stewart, maybe probably accounting firm? Okay. Thank you all so much for coming today.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
I'm Josh Strahan, audit partner with Carriggs and Ingram. This is David Sims, senior manager with Carriggs, and we're here to present the 2024 audited financial statements summary overview. Oh, there we go. So as an overview, 2024 compared to 2023, we had more findings that were classified as material weaknesses compared to the prior years. And this year, this is our 6th year presentation of the act for using the software that the city purchased to assist and make it easier. And then new this year, we had 2 federal award findings that were not previously reported on. Overall, we have 5 deliverables. We have the annual comprehensive financial report, the single audit for 2024, which had 2 control findings and 1 compliance finding. We had the passenger facility charge report, which is in accordance with the audit guide of the Federal Aviation Administration. That one was clean. We had no issues with that report that was submitted. We have a report to governance that is submitted to you, so required communications. Overall, in the course of the audit, we didn't have any disagreements with management. With our approach, we were not limited in terms of scope, access to documentation, access to personnel. So we had no issues there. And then we had the debt compliance letters for your water and sewer bonds and your airport bonds. Airport was clean. We had no issues with debt compliance. For water and sewer, the report for the Department of DEQ was clean, although there was 1 instance of noncompliance regarding the compliance rate of 125% of your debt service for junior and senior lien bonds. That was just a little short. Overall, on the financial statements itself, we issued an unmodified opinion. And so that's a clean opinion. It's the best that you can get in terms of financial reporting. We issued it over your major funds, which are listed for governmental funds, your major enterprise funds, each of the discretely presented component units, and your fiduciary funds, which is dealing with internal service, healthcare, risk, and pensions. On the screen is a listing of the findings for 2024 that we issued and their presentation related to 2023 and prior. The first finding was compensated absences. It is dealing with the method and the accuracy of the information that we are receiving from police and fire departments and the issues that when we get the information, the discrepancies and the inaccuracies that we have. This has been an ongoing finding that's been presented for the past couple of years. The second finding is dealing with general fund property standards and accounts receivable. We have a large receivable that is on the books from liens that are being placed on property standards. And then there's really the method of tracking it and collecting is is somewhat problematic in getting to accurate numbers. And so it's requiring adjustments that are being made each and every year. The third finding is material adjustments. Each year, for the past couple of years, we've had to make significant adjustments to the books, whether it's accrued liabilities, deferred revenue, adjustments, receivables, things of those nature. The fourth one, C for preparation. This requires a good bit of effort from all departments within the city to provide the accounting department with accurate financial information so we can determine your proper amount of federal awards that needs to get reported so we can test. This is the longest running finding that we've had since we've been engaged. Just the complexity of it and the millions of dollars that are involved with tracking, getting this information. The fifth one is dealing with wire transfer approvals coming out of finance. This is the first year that we've had this particular issue. It is dealing with segregation of duties and the proper person that is doing the reporting.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
If somebody has their phone on, I need you to turn it off or put it on silent. Take your calls outside the chamber. Thank you.
Sorry. The sixth finding is dealing with misappropriation of assets. This one was actually self-reported by accounting and finance, dealing with an individual that was on medical leave, workers' comp, and still being paid. That one, like I said, that one was reported directly to us, and so it's reported as well. The next one is bid law compliance. We had two items out of our sample of 25 that were not properly bid in terms of the number of times. They were bid twice. They were advertised twice. They should have been advertised 3 times. Not a significant issue, but a reportable issue nonetheless. The next one is negative fund balances and fund maintenance. We have a number of funds that are negative: governmental funds, enterprise funds, as well as internal service funds. The next one, penalties and interest, is dealing with an issue that goes back to 2021, 2022. The healthcare reporting forms for the 2021 calendar year were not properly filed by the due date in 2022, which incurred substantive penalties and interest that was accrued on the 2023 report. However, they were not able to be successfully abated. And so those penalties and interest were paid in 2024. And then the last issue is a payroll issue, also dealing with a finding that was self-reported by accounting and finance with a issue of an employee working an outside job while they were on city time as well. For the single audit, the federal awards, you had $54 million in 2024 compared to $28.6 million in 2023. Because of the size of the amount, we're required to test 40% of your federal awards. And this covered 4 programs. The first one was the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, dealing with water and sewer loans. We had no issues with that reporting, with that federal program. The second program is the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery. This is also known as your ARPA funds. This one did have a modified opinion because of the findings that we had. We had a finding over suspension of debarment controls, and then we also had a reporting finding that caused a modification. The third program was Choice Neighborhood Implementation Grants. We had an unmodified opinion there. We did have one control finding, but not enough to cause a modification. And then the fourth program was Community Development Block Grants, which had no findings. As I said, the single audit findings that we had: suspension and debarment over Choice and ARPA funds. This one is, there was no control in place to check that you were doing business with improper vendors. We checked the vendors that were used. We had no issues there, so there's no compliance findings. It was just a control failure. And then reporting for the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, those reports were not accurately presented to the federal government at the end of 2024 and will require amending for inside 2025. Also, we had 5 management letter comments. 4 of them are repeats, and we have 1 new one. The first one is ethics training. We tested a sample of 60 employees throughout the city. We had a failure rate of 33%, so 20 out of 60 failed. The second management letter comment is dealing with bank reconciliations. This is a repeat finding. This one is actually, it's still management letter comment, although it has improved from a previous finding. So it's still reportable. We have minor discrepancies on bank reconciliation procedures that need to be improved upon. The third management letter comment is budget noncompliance. We have a number of funds that are not in accordance with the Local Government Budget Act, 5% thresholds, which has some difficulty with time for budget amendments to be prepared and accepted before year end. The fourth one is retainage payable schedules. We've had this issue, I think, the past 2 years, and deals with your construction projects and having proper retainage schedule for each of the projects out there so it's properly tracked. And then the last management letter comment is dealing with journal entries. This one is new, and it's related to duplication of effort. There was a number of entries that were made by the department. Turns out that they were not properly made. They were corrected, but they were not corrected properly. That required a number of entries to ultimately get to the right balance that should have been reported. The next slide is just showing a summary government-wide net position. This is as if the city is reporting on a business, showing all your debt, showing your debt, liabilities, as well as your fixed assets. And so these are your major items that are on the government-wide. You can see you've had a $55 million increase in your capital assets from 24 to 23. Your overall bonds, capital leases, and premiums and discounts increased $63.5 million. Your pension, which is dealing with discount rates and changes like things that are outside of your control, decreased $19 million. Your OPEB liability went up $44.6 million. Now, those two numbers right there, your pension and your OPEB, does not necessarily mean that you have that money due right then and there. That's going to be a constant changing number that's going to fluctuate over time. That's as if everybody retired right now, that's what you would be responsible to pay for. Landfill post-closure liability for your landfill on Woolworth Road increased $444,000. Compensated absences increased $3.4 million. And then your claims for healthcare and litigation increased $1.8 million. This is a summary comparison over 24-23, just in a little bit more detail in millions. Revenues for the year, pretty consistent. And then here are your expenses. So you'll see some big changes from 2024 to 23. Not to be alarmed, but in 2023, we had a significant change in your OPEB valuation that greatly reduced the amount of expenses on 2023. And so 2024 is now more comparable to 2022. So this is just a timing change. So your year-over-year expenses for governmental did not increase $197 million. That was just a change because of valuation.
Okay.
Governmental funds, this is normally what you would see on your monthly financial statements, broken out by your major programs, your major funds, general debt service obligation for each of your bonds that were issued in community development. And then your major enterprise business type activities, airport, water and sewage, solid waste, and convention center, hotel. And we are ready for any questions that you may have.
Okay. Yes, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you so much for the update. Some of the findings are a little disturbing because we had some of these same findings in 2023.
Yes.
And the corrective action was supposed to be that we were supposed to get with the administration and correct some of the actions that were not good. But just looking at some of the findings again, some of those things were not corrected. So my suggestion is probably to follow up with a meeting, an audit and finance meeting, so we can get with the administration and move forward and correct some of the findings we've had, because some of these are just like they were a year ago. So
Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask Mr. Dark, did you have the opportunity to get with audit and finance and work with some of these findings?
We actually did, Madam Vice Chair. We've had a number of meetings since the end of the audit, including one this morning with Mr. Trahan.
Okay.
A couple of things we are working on. The issue of compensated absences, which has come up over and over. We are working with CRI to come up with I believe, an intern position that is going to do nothing but that.
Okay.
And because we want to see if we can, by putting someone specifically on that we can get around some of the problems that we've had there. They have also agreed to put together a training program for our in-house accounting staff. When you have staff turnover, when you have changes in responsibilities, sometimes things go through the cracks. And what we're asking them as the experts to do, and they have been very willing to put that program together for us, is try to get us in a position where some of the things that are our own control, particularly just not doing something correctly the first time, will be dealt with. And we've had some other discussions. I mean, for instance, the whole business of property standards. It's almost a bookkeeping thing. I mean, we send out a lot of bills, and most of the property standards work we do is not likely to ever result in payment. We can try, and we do, but generally most of those are not. They're not there. It's just a matter of how you report them. Right now, you show them as revenue, but they also show they balance off as a bad debt at the end of the year. So, but yes, ma'am, we are working on trying to come up with some ways, because we don't like the repeat findings at all.
Right. Okay, so I'll set up an audit and finance meeting with me being the chair, and then we'll work with the administration and see if we can come up with some goals. So maybe next year, hopefully, that our report will be a lot better. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Personnel, do you have any awards, recognition, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any communications of the mayor relative to city business?
I do. I've asked the police department to come forth and give you their monthly report. Then I have some very brief comments.
Okay. Probably.
Just got one.
Hey, Chief.
you.
I have a little something that I want to give each one of you, and I have a question to ask you following our presentation.
It's a nice pen. Check and see if it's on. Whatever.
Chief, does bullets go with these?
Sir,
Does bullets go with these?
press the side of it and it'll send out the projectile out the other end for your signature. This is one of our recruiting items. As you know, we constantly recruit to bring the best and the brightest to Shreveport. So I put one of these in each one of your hand, and the question that I want to ask each of you, are you built blue? And it's all of our responsibility to help recruit and bring in the finest people to our community. So as you're out and about and you see people who may fit the bill, please direct them our way.
We don't have to give them this pen, right?
No, that's just for you. That's just as a reminder. And it got the telephone number on it to our recruiting unit. All right. All right, this is our normal presentation that we bring to you, and this is to date, crime-wise. Year-to-date, our homicides, we stand at 29 as of today, and that does take into effect the tragic weekend that we had. Last year, this time, we were at 41, so we are at a 29% decline in our homicide rate year-to-date. The next slide that you'll see is shots fired call, and this encompasses our entire city. 2025, there has been 1,561 shots fired calls reported to us. Last year, for the same time period, there was 1,945, so we're setting at a 20% reduction in our reported shots fired calls year-to-date. Year-to-date shooting, these are incidents where someone has actually been injured by gunfire. 2025, we have 168 that has been reported to us this far. 2025, there was 218, so a 23% reduction in the actual shootings here across our city. The next one that you see is an array of activities that we keep up with, one being the sex crime, and as I report each time, that seemed to be just a little bit high each reporting period, but I think some of that has got to do with the technology that we've been deploying, or more arrests have been made. So we're setting to date at about a 1% increase, but I think there's a good justifiable reason for that. That does not mean that more offenses occurring. That means we're investigating more and there's more arrests being made. Vehicle thefts, this is something that affects our entire city. Thus far this year, 914 have been reported. For the same time period last year, 930. So we are less than around a 1% reduction in our vehicle thefts. Armed robberies, 44 this year. Looked like it was 83 last year, about a 17% reduction in that. Burglaries, we're showing about a 19% reduction in burglaries. And this category takes in whether it's a residential or a business. They're combined with the government's reporting system now. A burglary is a burglary, no matter where it occurs, with the exception of vehicle burglars or movable. And even with vehicle burglars, we had about a 5% reduction this year as opposed to last year. Carjacking, we're down about a 25% in that area. Next category that you'll see is one that periodically I mention, and that is people that is involved in fatal auto crashes. You know, as I said time and time again, for the average person, since everyone is on the highway at some point or another, statistically, chances would be greater that you would be harmed in an automobile accident than any other way. We're sitting at 24 this year, and the alarming thing about that 24, a significant amount of them, as the gentleman mentioned earlier when he was talking about bicycles, do involve pedestrians. About 9 or 10 or so of these, an alarming number, involve pedestrians, either on bicycles, crossing the road, wheelchairs, you know, just a number of things. We were at 25 last year this time. The next slide is about squatting. Since the ordinance that you guys put into place, making it a lot easier and simpler for us to enforce someone who is taking up residence in somebody else's property. This is across our city, and you know, there's been 75 arrests so far, and this number comes straight out of the city courts database, so it is about as accurate can get. There's been about 75 arrests across our city for squatting. There's been 67 convictions thus far, and one open for a bench warrant, you know, didn't show up for court, obviously. 2 set for trial, and about 5 set for arraignment. So we have been actively using that, you know, whenever someone notifies us that there is someone living somewhere where there's not public utilities, we do actively investigate it. Next, just a little positive thing I wanted to throw in. The Block by Block initiative has been tremendous for us in getting to know our community and talk with people whom you will not see at public forums, at neighborhood association meeting, public meeting. These were the average, ordinary people who go to work and come home and just don't attend that kind of meeting, but talking with them, giving them your attention on an individual basis, sometimes unleash valuable information. What you see is a result of some of the information that we've received from Block by Block, talking with people. Matter of fact, what you see here happened this past week. 3 felony arrests, 9 misdemeanor arrests, juveniles taken into custody, 23 firearms seized, 2 stolen vehicles recovered, and over $20,000 in drug proceeds taken out of several residents out in Area 3, all as a result of meeting people face to face, just you and them, and asking what can government do to help you. Very, very successful. All right, and I'm free to answer any questions that you may have.
Councilman Green?
Yeah, Chief.
Yes, sir.
How do you all track or report DWIs?
How do we track?
Yeah.
If it is reported to us that someone is on the road and is intoxicated, we'll immediately send that out to the officers to attempt to locate that vehicle. I don't know if I quite answered your question about it, but you want to know.
I mean, is the rate up or is it down?
Okay, I'm with you. I got you. Last year, City of Shreveport led the state of Louisiana in arrests for driving impaired, and I think we're on target to do so again this year. Next council or tomorrow, I will have you exact figures of how many arrests have been made thus far for driving impaired, but it's significant.
Okay, thank you.
And we continue to pursue that because some of these fatality accidents involving people who are impaired. We have an active traffic unit. Each year we get a grant from the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission that every quarter we have at least 2 special operations targeting impaired driving. We'll have 2 welfare checkpoints, let me say.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilman Jackson.
Chief, the numbers show that crime is down, but when we have mass shootings, it shakes people to the core, and it's hard for them to believe the numbers.
Sure.
Most recently, we've had 2 shootings, and one of the common denominators was large gatherings.
That's right.
And these large gatherings, I'm gonna say, were at unsanctioned places. They were not patronized businesses. They were just kind of just hanging out.
Yes, sir.
What are we doing to police vacant lots? Are we getting calls when people are gathering in large gatherings so we can have a police presence before anything sparks out of control? Or what would you say to the public that are trying to have these large gatherings? Is that something that you say we should be doing in Shreveport, we shouldn't be doing? Kind of give your expertise on that, because it's our job to want to keep everybody safe. But I think we got to give them the information to arm them with that as well.
Sure, I'm so glad that you asked that because the media wanted to know that also, so everybody can hear it at one time. Whenever people of the community notice a large gathering, call and let us know so we can increase our presence in that area. If you are someone that wants to coordinate a gathering, as you mentioned, you can give us a call and please let us know that's going on. We would love to increase presence. But keep in mind there are certain procedures that must take place in order to organize an event like that. Permits need to be done, and sometimes people don't know all of what needs to take place, and the other time they really don't care, probably going to do it anyway. But we'd love to be involved, but we'd love to know, we'd love to help, and we could increase our presence.
And if they don't follow the procedure, will your officers disperse the crowd? Is that the protocol?
We'll do our best. We'll check for the appropriate permits, either for your entertainment or for the property that you're on, and we will ask people to disperse if all of the procedures are not followed.
Okay. And second thing, I talked with briefly Councilman Brooks about this. I was downtown this weekend and I saw an increase of homeless presence in downtown, definitely under the bridge. And I know the city is landlords to a lot of tenants under there. Asking, has that been brought to your attention? Do we have a plan to make sure, especially homeless or not, in front businesses during operating hours? I had a big issue in my district that you helped me out with. So I just want to make sure that we're still protecting those downtown businesses as well.
We do, and anywhere else in the city. If you notice someone that is actively violating the law, let us know, and we'll do our best to bring them in compliance or make the necessary arrests. But we just, any public space, let me preface it that way, we cannot target someone because of their financial condition. If the public is free to come and go and walk and sit, so do they. But if they break the law, then that's different. If they become rioty, inciting a riot, if it's obvious that they are overly intoxicated and causing a problem, but someone has to call a problem, I just can't tell you to leave because you appear not to be as financially good as someone else.
What does our ordinance say about loitering? If they're just there not patronizing any business, what does our ordinance say about loitering? How do you determine loitering?
You'd have to look at each case on an individual basis. I would venture to say probably 80% of the people that patronize downtown not just the entertainment district, but other places, have no intent of going in. The party is on the outside. So loitering is a very slippery slope and hard to interpret. So everything has to be looked at on its individual basis. Because we're the police, we have to clearly articulate that someone has violated the law, explain the circumstances, and, convince the courts beyond a reasonable doubt. And just looking at somebody just because they're there, just don't get it.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
We've had incidents, many incidents, where we have not fallen for the traps of people, organizations that knows people's civil rights, constitutional rights even better than we do. Come to the entertainment district, come downtown, and intentionally do things that draw your attention, waiting on you to step across the line, not clearly understand someone's civil rights. So we have to be very careful at what we do.
Chief, I know that we had a traumatic weekend
Yes.
with the mass shooting, and I know it's an ongoing investigation. Do you have any updates on how the surviving victims are doing at this time?
Expected to make a full recovery.
Okay.
All of them are.
And I'll follow up with you regarding the two that are deceased.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. And as we speak of, within the last 30 minutes, there's been another shooting in a part of town, but as we know right now, there are no life-threatening injuries that we know of.
Are you still seeking information for Crime Stoppers, for anybody to come forward with the shooting?
Absolutely, absolutely. That has been one of the biggest blessings to us Crime Stoppers in getting information out there immediately and getting results, good tips that lead us in the right direction.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mhm.
Mayor Arsenault.
And the question, are you built blue? Now, remember that pen. We need your help.
Madam Chair, I want to follow up on the Allendale incident in a couple of ways. Number one, to let the people of Shreveport know that we're applying all of our resources
Correct.
to capture and convict the people who are responsible for that. I want to extend my personal gratitude to you, Madam Chair. I was out of the state over the weekend, and I appreciate your call to let me know what was going on and your attending. It was a good coordination. I want to express my appreciation to you.
You're more than welcome.
Two other things. Number one, Reverend Green, I need to correct one thing that you were saying. We do frequently miss out on opportunities, but Barksdale was not one of them. The people of Shreveport actually passed a bond issue to buy the land to give to the federal government. It just happened that the suitable site ended up on the east side of the river. So that was actually foresight on the part of the people of Shreveport in the 1920s. I don't disagree with the rest of your statements, but I did want to make sure that the people of Shreveport from literally 100 years ago had that foresight.
My grandmama had told me about this, so she was
That's all right. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure that everybody who was listening understood that minor matter. And then I will be in Baton Rouge tomorrow for a Keep Louisiana Beautiful conference, and fortunately, because of the work that Mr. Edwards and our executive team have done on Block by Block, we're actually receiving an award at that conference. So
good.
I will be out tomorrow. I believe it's my first work session or council meeting to miss since I've been in office, and that is all I have, Madam Chair.
All right. Anyway.
Well, the last Block by Block was in Broadmoor.
Yeah, exactly. It was thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was Saturday. I do want to, I'm sorry I let Chief leave out the room because we did hear from the Louisiana Supreme Court regarding the domestic violence. And I actually want Attorney Edwards to read the letter into the record because, so, huge change.
The letter is dated September 23rd, tomorrow, 2025. Dear Dr. Johnson and Chairwoman Taylor, thank you for your letter of September 3, 2025, forwarding the Shreveport City Council Resolution Number 97 of 2025. On behalf of the Justices of the Louisiana Supreme Court, thank you and the Shreveport City Council for adopting this resolution and especially for your keen interest in our work with the Louisiana Protective Order Registry, LPOR, to assist victims of domestic violence. We appreciate your sentiments about the need to ensure that the LPOR form is accessible, practical, and effective for all stakeholders, while also ensuring compliance with federal and state law. The Supreme Court has recently embarked on a project to create a secure, user-friendly online portal so that individuals seeking a civil protective order may complete and submit a petition online. The portal will utilize a series of direct, plain language questions and generate a petition based on the individual's answers. Furthermore, the portal will be designed to work with mobile phones and tablets and include features which enhance the safety of applicants. When fully functional, the portal will transmit the petition directly to the applicable clerk of court, eliminating the need for an individual to travel to the courthouse. The Louisiana Supreme Court is working with the National Center for State Courts to design and develop a portal that is aligned with and exceeds national best practices. This includes seeking extensive input from survivor-based advocacy services, attorneys, judges, and law enforcement from the entire state, including Northwest Louisiana. Thank you again for your supportive resolution.
Thank you so much. That is a huge step for domestic violence victims. I thank the Supreme Court for the steps that they're taking in order to ensure the safety of those individuals that are affected by domestic violence. Does any member have any questions or concerns relative to property standards for Mr. Green? Sashay? Mr. Stephen, do you have a master plan committee report?
I just want to let you know you should be getting a draft of the One Shreveport Master Plan update in just a few days. Mr. Clark is taking one more look at it, and then we'll get it out to you for review. And then we encourage you to give us comments and questions at that time.
Okay, thank you, sir. Did everyone receive budget to actual financial report? Public hearing, there is none. Mr. Dork, will there be any legislation added today?
No, Madam Chair.
Excuse me. Today, we'll hear public comments on non-agenda and agenda items. Madam Vice Chair.
First one we have is Kenny Crawford.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Kenneth Crawford. My home address is 7349 Mallard Bay Drive here in Shreveport. I find myself, I'm actually the owner of the last cab company here in town, and we have lots of interaction with the vehicle for hire unit. I come by, I don't know, a couple months back and made some comments about a few things in the ordinance that need to be changed. Today, my problem is, well, the first one ends up being is that I live in the parish. My business is in Bossier. I don't actually have a council member to come to because I know a lot of this stuff, when it has to be talked about and voted on, you typically take it to your council member, and then, you know, they kind of figure out where to go with it from that. So I've been to the vehicle for hire unit. They say I need to bring it to the council. I'm pretty sure, to be honest with you, the city attorney is probably who I need to visit with most about it. There's a House bill that passed. I brought a copy for anybody that wants it. It's a House Bill 170 that changed driver's licenses for taxi cab drivers to where They no longer have to have a Class D chauffeur's license in order to run a taxi cab. But yet our ordinance still requires that they do have that Class D license. It only costs, I'm not sure what the fees are at the DMV, but the truth is it's just an added expense, that's not necessary anymore by law. So I need to get with someone to start that process to see if we can get that part of the ordinance changed or deleted. It's actually just a single line item in 102 that if we could just get it deleted would be great. But at the same time, maybe after some discussion with the city attorney, we could get something in place in the interim while we get the ordinance changed to where the vehicle for hire unit could actually go ahead with the process of these applications and stuff without these people having to pay this extra money. Because it's literally take it over to the DMV, take a test, give them $50, and there we are. There's also right behind that. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this today because I ended up at the vehicle for hire unit about 1:30. There's also a spot about us taking a class at the Shreveport Convention and Tourist Bureau. We've not done that in years and years and years. And therefore, that's another one of those things that the ordinance just needs some polishing and tweaking. We're the only people, vehicle for hire folks, that they still do the background checks on. Uber and Lyft, they do their own company background checks. It ends up costing us money that's unnecessary. I've actually had one for the better part of 20 years, as long as I've been in the cab business, and I've never actually had a police officer ask me for one, a stop or anything like that.
Mr. Crawford?
Sure.
Your time is expired.
Okay.
Attorney Edwards, is this something that you can work with Mr. Crawford on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if you leave Attorney Edwards your number,
Okay.
he'll be glad to help you.
Absolutely. Two things real quick, though. What you said, 80% is, this town doesn't have a long line going out of it looking for people to invest in us. And I think that anybody else, that comes here wants to do good, we should give them a chance. And Mayor, I got your $150. I'll make a donation to cover what you need. So I'll get with Tom and get that done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all's time.
John Matoir? John Matoir? Mary Armstrong?
Good evening. I need to show you pictures from my phone.
Okay,
Can I
we get
do
your
that?
name and address for the record, please?
Pardon me?
Your name and address for the record?
Mary Armstrong,
And your address, please.
8525 Shamlat Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Thank you.
So.
I can turn it over, maybe.
Can't see it. What my issue is, coming out of my apartment where that car is parked, that's for people that are handicapped to walk off the curb. And people keep parking there. They won't move. What the city, I've been told, needs to do is paint that curb red and put no parking. Otherwise, the police department can't give them tickets. And they keep parking there and parking there. And there's a lot of handicapped people where I live with scooters and wheelchairs and whatnot. And then the sidewalks, part of them are owned by the apartment complex and part are owned by the city. And I have fallen twice. And that's what My knee looked like the other day. Yesterday, I ended up in urgent care. It's infected. Now I can't go to physical therapy like I've been going to. And the sidewalks are uneven.
Okay.
So there's big, I tripped over that in March. I tripped over that in this week.
Okay.
And we're not being protected as elderly people.
Right. And I apologize, Ms. Armstrong. I'm going to have Mr. Morgan. He's someone that you can talk to that can help you.
Okay, because I thought I can start here, and then I can go to the TV stations, I can go to the senator, I'm going to go to the top till something's done, because our safety is important.
Right.
And I don't find that to be a thing. I'm not from here.
Okay. So hopefully we can help you. I'm pretty sure Mr. Morgan can. Will you flag your hand? He's right there in the back.
Okay.
If you give him the information and the address, he'll be glad to help you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Mr. Jeremy Taylor?
What is a child in these phones today? Today must be turn on your phone day.
I'm Jeremy Taylor, address 516 Stone Avenue. I'm gonna play a video as well. Madam President, good afternoon. Madam President, I have a few questions for the council and for the city attorney. First, can you explain?
Mr. Taylor, can we have your name and address for the record?
Oh, Jeremy Taylor again, 516 Stoner Avenue.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Madam President, I have a few questions for the council and the city attorney. First, can you explain CIRA, what this program is, what it consists of, and how it's funded? Specifically, how does the administration provide money for a property appraised well under the purchase price? And more importantly, how can local investors like myself gain access to any incentives from the city administration? Without transparency, programs risk appearing designed for a limited few instead of the broader community. Second, I noticed the house on Jordan that was previously mentioned is being demolished. I appreciate that from Mr. Green and Ms. Lisa. Regarding the mayor's block by block initiative, what exactly does this consist of? From what I've seen, the areas chosen so far aren't the most blighted. While the ideal has potential, I'm concerned the efforts are more like publicity than genuine revitalization. Those resources could be directed more effectively. Third, I believe one of the greatest resources the city could provide Shreveport PD is proper education on newly passed ordinances. Right now, it seems assumed they'll just pick it up, but it's not effective. We want to fight squatters, but not at the risk of being told you can't do this until you do this, when the ordinance is supposed to be black and white. Better communication would strengthen enforcement and protect investors. Squatters, loiters, trespassers, vandals, they all fall under the squatter ordinance. Yet buildings are still standing, even after non-payment of water bills and the overhead costs from out-of-town investors. That raises serious questions, priorities, and fairness. And this is where accountability matters. Investors and taxpayers need clear rules, fair enforcement, and consistent leadership. If the city can fund outside deals, then it should also invest in the local people who live here, pay here, and build here. That's how we build trust. Finally, Mr. City Attorney, Mr. Marcus, I'd appreciate it if you could weigh in on the ordinance issues
Taylor,
and provide clarity.
Your time is it's up.
Okay. Anybody? Mr. City Attorney? Or am I just a tadpole?
So what I suggest is, you can leave your information with the city attorney, and then he'll get back with you and answer some of your questions. I think you've already had a meeting, so I think the best route now is to go through the city attorney's office.
I never received that follow-up meeting.
Okay.
That was suggested by Madam Chair. I never received that follow-up meeting.
I'm happy
Not per Mr. City Attorney, per administration, I'm sorry. Let me say that.
I'm happy to speak with Mr. Taylor and to get to the bottom of his issues, answer as many of the questions as I can.
Okay. Thank you so much. This concludes public comments. Thank you, Madam Chair.
There are no items under consent agenda for introduction or to be adopted. Mr. Dorr, please proceed with regular agenda legislation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution 104 is a payment in lieu of taxes agreement regarding which with the Northwest Louisiana Finance Authority. This is for an entity called Barrett Senior Limited Partnership. This is the former Barrett Elementary School. They're proposing to spend a little over $20 million for 74 housing units for seniors. 105 is also a payment in lieu of taxes for a group called Fairfield Building Lofts. They are proposing to spend almost $19 million on 50 housing units. 106 is a lease agreement between the city and Shreve City LLC. This is for the Area 2 temporary substation. The lease is for 1 year. It is for, I believe, $3,520 a month. We are working with the owner right now to get just a little bit of build out and working with IT to get the communications facilities so that we can get those folks moved in as quickly as we can. 107 is something that you can't act on until the 14th of October because of advertising. This is a lease agreement with Volunteers of America of North Louisiana relative to some of the property in the Sportrans City complex. 108 is the declaring the city's intent to issue up to $190 million in water and sewer refunding bonds. There is an amendment. The only thing the amendment does is actually restate the resolution to include the fact that we're hiring the firm called Government Consultants as our municipal advisor for the transaction. 109 states the city's endorsement of Shreveport REO LLC. This one also cannot be acted upon until the 14th, and there'll be a public hearing that day. This is part of the restoration tax abatement program. This is actually the building that some people know downtown as the Standard. They're doing about an $11 million project. And 110 recognizes Bishop Joseph Warren Walker III, sponsored by Councilmember Taylor.
Mr. Dark, would you proceed with introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to October 14, 2025?
111 is the annual one that Water and Sewer is required to bring forth to you. This says that you've been given the opportunity to review the 2024 internal municipal water pollution prevention report concerning the city's 2 sewer plants. I will spare you the details. There's a lot of it, but mostly what it says is that we are generally in compliance, that we have wet weather issues that mean that certain months we have more flow than others, and that's pretty much all it says. But
would you just provide an overview for every council member?
I can get the Water and Sewer Department to do that.
Thank you.
The short version, I think, though, is that there's a point system and that less points is better, and I think of a possible 500 and something, we're at 200, and I think 100 of those are for the few wet weather overflows that we do still have.
Anything that essentially comes to the water, we're going to get questions on. So
Yes.
as much information that you could provide to us on it is going to be critical in that particular point. So if you could just provide that.
I will try to get Mr. Weich and that crew to put that together for you.
When you talk about 1082, I read over a lot of that too, and if they just can give an overview a little bit of what that does, that would be good too.
Mr. Busada, Mike can do that one in about the next 30 seconds, and you won't have to put it in writing. He is here, and
yes,
he's one to help put that deal together for us. The short version is that refunding bonds are available sometimes when you can save a little bit of interest money by refinancing them, and there's a threshold that you have to meet in order for it to be a deal worth doing, and this one, in fact, does that.
Yes, essentially, Madam Chair, we would just be refinancing.
Okay.
The existing 2014, there was two 2014 issues and a 2015 issue of water and sewer revenue bonds. Those are callable now, and so we're able to refinance. And right now, and we'll have tomorrow we'll actually have more of the finance team here to answer those questions and give you any updates specifically. But we're looking at saving about $5 million. It won't extend the maturity or anything on the bonds, so there's no cost. It's just pure savings.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Doug, would you proceed with introduction of ordinances not to be adopted prior to October 14, 2025?
Sorry, let me go back because we never did do Resolution
Oh,
112.
I'm sorry,
Which was the
112.
last one of those. It's a CEA between the city and community caregivers of Northwest Louisiana for what is described as a Chicken and Blues Festival.
Okay.
Let me ask the clerk, there's supposedly a CEA to attach to this. Did it get attached today at some point? Okay, because it was not there this morning. Good. Okay. Now I can start on ordinances if you'd like.
Yes.
101 is the capital budget amendment for the Pines Road paving project. This is a project that was funded, it was approved as a $3 million project in the bond issue. We funded it for design. It's actually ready to go out for bids. So what we're doing is we're taking the additional 2.7 that we need from that project from a $25 million Southern Hills sewer project that's going to be done in phases, so we're not going to need all of that money before next time we sell bonds. Not touching any street projects. All we're doing is getting, this one is ready to go, and we want to get it on the street.
Okay.
102 declares a public emergency in connection with the replacement of variable frequency drives at the North Regional Wastewater Plant. There's 7 of them that we're replacing, a total of about $900,000. They apparently were all put in at one time, and it looks like they all needed to be replaced at one time. That work is being done, so this is, you're being asked to approve it because it exceeds the $150,000 threshold.
Okay.
Zoning case ordinance 103 is zoning case 2581C. Piece of property located on the east side of Fern near Business Park Drive from the OS zoning to RTH for, I believe, 38 townhome units being proposed, I think, by Vintage Development.
Okay.
This was unanimous, no opposition.
Mr. Dark, please proceed with ordinance on second reading and final passage.
All right. 84 and 85 are companions. This is the amendment for public safety and the amendment for community development. Public safety is contributing $100,000 to the, what do you call it, Project Safe Neighborhoods for lighting. Public safety provides the money. In 85, community development receives it. 86 amends the capital improvements budget. This is the state funding for the Linwood Overpass, approximately just under $3.5 million. 87 is a technical amendment with the general fund that doesn't do anything except move money for the payment of certificate of indebtedness we bought for equipment a couple of years ago to a different category in the budget. Makes the accountants happy. So that's all we're trying to do here. No change in money, whatever, just being moved to a different place in the budget. 88 amends the general fund budget to purchase, put $1.4 million in to be combined with some money from the Public Safety Fund to get us 30 new police cruisers. This is something you have heard discussed a couple of times about the need to do this. We have the ability to do it this year, so that's something we're trying to do with this ordinance. 89 and 90 are companions. This is attempting to increase the money in the rate stabilization account for water and sewer. We had a $20 million allocation. We're trying to raise it to 25, so we have a better chance of hitting all our coverage numbers for next year. 91 amends the TIF District F budget, adds about $125 million in additional revenue, and appropriates $8,000 of that. The rest of it stays in reserve. 92 is the large one. 92 is the main general fund cleanup ordinance. It adds almost $5.3 million in sales tax, oil and gas money, a little bit of interest. It decreases a little bit of the money for permits. The money is really going 4 places, mostly. Property standards is essentially out of money again. We are raising about $1.2 million there for demolition and weed abatement. We're putting about a little over $1 million in SPAR for personnel costs and contract maintenance, mostly personnel costs. Mostly maintenance. $1,874,000 in general government because the risk fund needs more money for claims and litigation, and a little over $1.1 million to police for contract repairs and fuel. There's a $20,000 one for city courts. There are also two amendments, and they're fairly small, but just to let you know what they are. Amendment number 1 is moving some money around inside the IT budget. We've determined fairly recently that there are a number of PCs in various departments that are no longer supported by their manufacturers because they're quite old. And what that means is that we can't keep a lot of our security features on those PCs. So IT is actually going to budget the money through this amendment to buy all of those. It's a little over 100 of them, I believe. The second one is one that the city marshal requested. As you know, we went a couple of years back, we bought a whole replacement group of the tasers and body cams and things like that. Well, the marshal wants to use the same taser model. Theirs are worn out. They're no longer maintainable. So what we're asking is to budget a little over $25,000 for the first payment this year, and then we will put in at some point during the budget process, and it's not there in the budget you're going to get October 1st, but it will be at some point, the other, I think, $21,000 or so a year for a few years for the taser, so that when they go out and do these operations together, they'll all have the same equipment, and his officers will be safer.
Do we have any additional dollars going to Public Works?
Public Works doesn't need any money this year, apparently. I mean, they're within the budget they have. I mean, obviously, he could use more, but we don't. They're within their budget for contract services and for salaries, unlike these others. 93 is an airport's budget amendment to cover some additional claims costs they had. They settled some long-standing lawsuits this year, so their contribution to the risk fund needed to go up a little bit. 94 is a companion to both 92 and 93. It's an amendment to the risk fund that adds $3 million to it. Some of that is from general fund, some of that is from airport, and some of that is from insurance reimbursements. 95 is an amendment to solid waste that adds about $600,000 from landfill revenue and puts that same $600,000 into paying additional costs that we've incurred to the landfill contractor. Those things pretty much operate, together. 96 is a water and sewer cleanup that adds about $2.3 million from interest earnings from them and uses it to offset the cost of the AMI meter installation. Mr. Sneed told me this morning we are somewhere, I think if we're trying to put 75,000 meters in the ground, I think we're up a little over 44,000 right now. So those payments go up proportionally as the number of meters are put in. 96 is the film and entertainment district that Mr. Busada and you all discussed at some length earlier today. 98 raises the landfill fee by 68 cents a ton, 1.5%. That just offsets the pass-through that we will be paying to Republic starting next year. And 100, let's see, make sure I'm where I am supposed to be here. 100 authorizes the purchasing agent to advertise for the sale of 401 Texas. And that also cannot be adopted until October 14th for advertising.
Madam Clerk, will the public hearing be towards the beginning of the meeting, or will it be on down in the agenda?
Beginning.
Okay. Done, Mr. Dart?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Madam Clerk, is there any other table legislation to be removed from the table?
No, ma'am.
We have no property standards or ABO appeals to consider. We have no MPC or ZBA appeals to consider. Case number 2562, appeal by Trudy Abner and Velma Wilson for special use permit site plan. It's going to be withdrawn? Okay. All right. Are there any other appeals, Madam Clerk?
No, ma'am.
Are there any reports from officers, boards, and committees? Madam Clerk, is there a clerk report?
No, ma'am.
Executive session, there is none. If there is nothing else, this meeting is adjourned. Huh?